In our first video on regular expressions, we did an introduction to using regular expressions to search through strings. And in this video, we're going to add a little more information to that. So we saw how to use a character class like A through Z to do a search for lowercase letters. But it turns out that inside of a bracket, a group like this, where you're searching for a character class, you can actually put a bunch of classes together. So what this says right here, and these are concatenated, so we have the lowercase a through z, uppercase a through z, and the digits 0 through 9. And we have those character classes concatenated together inside these brackets, and what that means is search for a lowercase a through z, capital A through z, or a digit 0 through 9. Any one of those three things, and we'll return a hit. Now we're going to be looking at two strings here. The sentence, look at me, I can count, and then another string that has a bunch of punctuation marks in it. Okay, so for this, when we look in the letter A, or in the string A, we should get the L back. That is a capital L in the A through Z class, so we should get a hit there. Now we're going to do the same string on B. Now B doesn't have any letters or digits in it, so this will return the string does not contain any letters or digits. And then we're going to look for some things in B that are punctuation. And we've got some weird stuff going on here. So I've got this backslash dot. It's called, this is saying character escape. It's actually saying redundant character escape. We're going to ignore that. Dot and question mark are built-in characters in regular expressions. They mean something. So you can use a dot in a regular expression and it means something that we'll talk about in a later lesson, but we need to know is that that's a built-in character. So if you actually want to search for a dot, then you have to do what's called an escape. And basically an escape means, hey, what I really wanted was for you to look for a dot, not use the dot as your built-in command. So you put a backslash in front of that and you escape the dot and the question mark. The exclamation point, the colon, and the semicolon don't need to be escaped because those are not built-in commands in a regular expression. And here is an example of actually using a regular expression for something that you might consider useful. So I'm looking at, see the dollar sign? We're looking at the end of the string A for a period, a question mark, or an exclamation point. So we're looking for punctuation. Is that sentence punctuated properly? Here, now I've done something different. What's the difference between this and this? So I actually see two differences. One is that we're not looking at the end of the string. No dollar sign down here. But there's another difference. This is not inside brackets like this. So remember, with brackets, when these things are concatenated together like this inside of brackets, this means look for a period, a question mark, or an exclamation point, any one of those three at the end of the string. This means look for those three things in order somewhere in the string. So I'm looking for a dot, a question mark, and a period in the string somewhere. And in the string A, we're not going to find that. In this string, we will find the dot, a period, question mark, and exclamation point. So in this string, we will find it. All right, let's run this. So as advertised up here, this found the capital L at the beginning of A. B does not contain any letters or digits. B does contain punctuation, and the first punctuation symbol it found was the period. So it prints out a period. And A does not have any punctuation at the end. And A does not have a dot, question mark, and exclamation point in order anywhere in the string. And this sentence does have the period, question mark, and exclamation point, and it prints those out. All right, let's go do a review. So I'm just putting the strings here instead of having them up above, and it's going to be the look at me, I can count string with a colon at the end. What does this search for? What does this search for? And what does this search for? They all look very similar, but the brackets are moved around or non-existent. What's the difference between those three searches? You might want to pause and think about it before I run this. This one says look for a lowercase character, an lowercase letter, uppercase letter, or digit 0 through 9. Give me one of those. So it's going to find the capital L. This says look for a lowercase, then an uppercase, then a digit. Not found. This says look for literally the characters A-Z, capital A-Z, 0-9. So let's do a little exploring here. If I put a C here and a 2 here, I now have a lowercase letter, a capital letter, and a digit. So these three things will be satisfied, and we will find the CL2. So notice how these are separated into three different groups, and so I'm looking for three different characters in an order. I can't put an S in here. Now it's not found because I need another A through Z in here to find CLS, C capital L S 2. Now down here, I can try that same trick that I did up above. I can put an A and a 2 here, but it doesn't find that. What you literally need is A-Z, A-Z, 0-9. So when you have just characters inside of quotes, no brackets, you're literally searching for that string, and you need that string to find it. Okay. One last thing to add into our regular expressions arsenal. You can look for repeated things. So if I want to have multiple searches for lowercase, uppercase letters, or digits, here's several ways that you might do that. This search expression says, first of all, I'm looking at the first spot and I want a character, lowercase or uppercase. And then afterwards, I want some upper and lowercase letters or digits. And this braces right here, this set of braces is attached to this search expression and says I'm looking for 0 to 3 of these. So I can have none, 1, 2, or 3 characters of this format, and then immediately after that I want an @ sign. This is a similar expression, but we've got rid of the 0. This means I'm looking for exactly 3 characters following the lowercase or uppercase letter that must be in the first spot. This is the same search expression as this, but the string we're looking in is different. This is a different way of doing these searches. So what if you didn't know how many letters you were going to have, or you didn't know a range? So up here we had to know a range from 0 to 3 or exactly 3, but you may not know that. So there's another way to add repetition using the plus and the star. Plus means there has to be at least 1 and up to, well, basically infinity. So this says look for lowercase to uppercase character in the first slot, and then for this character class, the letters and digits, look for at least 1. So there has to be at least 1, and then as many as you want, and then followed by an @ sign. With a star, this means look for as many as you want, but it could be 0. So there doesn't have to be anything following this initial character class. And then these are the same search expressions as the ones above, but we're using different email addresses. So let's run what we have, and then we'll play around with this a little bit to see how these work. Okay, so for the first one, a@b.com, there is an initial lowercase letter, so check on that. And then there are none of these characters or digits between an initial letter and the @ sign, but that's fine because we said there could be up to 0 of them, so this flags that just fine and gets the A at. This one requires exactly 3 letters in between the initial character and the @ sign. This only has 1, so not found. This has an initial capital A, which is good for that, and then has a D2X, so there's 3 things there, then the @ sign, so it finds the AD2X @. This says look for exactly 3 of these, and there's 4, so not found. This says I need at least 1 character following this initial letter and then an @ sign. There's no character in there, so not found. And this says you can have 0, so this will find the A @ because there can be none of these. And then this is the same expression as above, but here now, instead of having just the capital A that we had before with a search expression, now we have a bunch of stuff in here. And so it finds all of that stuff. The star will find it also. The difference between, again, the star and the plus is the star will find this string, the plus will not. And I can type as many things in here as I want, as long as they're letters or digits. Uh-oh. What did I do? Oh, I put a space in there. That was an accident. Won't find a space. There. So now it finds it. I could do the same thing down here. Okay, so what should you get out of this lesson video? One is grouping classes together. So we have lowercase, uppercase class, and digits class. You can put those together inside of brackets. Brackets matter, and how you put those brackets together matters. And if you want, you can have repeats. You can specify the number of repeats as a count, or you can specify an unlimited number of repeats with initially at least 1 or 0.